might have 78%. So don't get overcomplicated by DCI. But again, it shows you where your power is being used, what your inputs to this are, racks, so your mechanical systems, your UPS electrical systems, your generation systems, your input utility. And it's very important, again, the keynote speaker said, how much energy we waste before we get to where it needs to be used. So we have 100% energy at source. By the time we get it in our data center, it might only be 60% of the total. By the time we've powered our UPSs and our diesel generators and our PDUs, we might be down to 40%. And of that 40%, over 50%, I think at the moment it's 52%, is not used on IT equipment, it's used on mechanical and electrical equipment. So we're down to the 20% IT utilization, and we need to improve our ability to increase that utilization in our IT equipment. So, go back to our benchmark study. This was carried out on behalf of the Singapore government of 23 data centres. So a little bit of facts and figures, if you like, of our 23 data centres that we studied. The age of the data centres and the classification of the data centres covered a very large spectrum. So if we look at number one, it's a medium-sized data centre of 15 years of age. If we look at number 7, it was a small data centre less than a year old. Look at the PUE for number 7, 3.17, a PUE of 3.17. Now you might say that that's a poor data centre, and in operational terms it probably was at the time. But because it's less than a year old, it was in fact only 6 months old, it was due to the fact that when you calculate PUE, you're looking at the total IT capability and the total M&E capability. So if you have 2 chillers and you switch one off, you can't ignore that in your PUE calculation. And the utilisation in this data centre was so low, they were only operating at 20% utilisation. They had to have a poor PUE figure, which again is why PUE is not necessarily a representative measure of efficiency in the data center. Whereas, this data center, 10 years old, small data center, had a PUE of 2.18. I won't go through the figures in too greater detail there, but you can see the average PUE in small data centers was 2.18, medium was 2.16, and large